Good morning, this is Harper Gibbons reporting from BSHC News. Today we are exploring the start of the war from 1936 to now. As we go into the details of the war, we look forward to its end and peace. Now to Brennan with recaps of 1936.
In 1936, the Germans were very upset with the policies of the Versailles Treaty, so dictator Adolf Hitler took over. He disobeyed the treaty and sent demilitarized troops into Rhineland bordering France. Many of the French became scared and did not know what to do. The Western democracy was mad at Hitler for doing this and denounced his actions. The government decided not to engage in it, though, to make sure that problems were not made. Instead, they developed the policy of appeasement. In this policy, we are giving in to the command of an aggressor, in this case Hitler, in order to keep the peace in France and here in Britain. We are also preventing the spread of the Soviet communism in this policy. 1936 also struck us with disaster of the Great Depression. This hurt our Western democracies and spread the idea of pacifism to oppose all war and to try and see peace at any price. This is another reason we adapted the policy and we're trying to keep the peace. Now move to Caitlin with the recap of 1938.
Starting in September 1938, our British Prime Minister Neville Chamberlain spoke to a crowd upon returning to London from a conference with Adolf Hitler himself in Munich, Germany. After this meeting, there was the Munich Conference. Here, British and French leaders again chose appeasement and caved into Hitler's demands. We persuaded the Czechs to surrender Sudetenland without a fight in exchange for Hitler's assurance that he had no further plans to expand his territory to Britain and France. At that point, the policy of appeasement was working, and we had peace. But then came 1939, the start of the war. For this report, we go to Skylar.
Hitler started hatching a plan. He wanted to make some peace and some friends, as to not get into a huge war. Germany and its enemy, the Soviet Union, shocked the world in signing the non-aggression pact between themselves. Then Hitler started moving. He had established peace with the Soviet Union and moved on to making war. He invaded Poland and went into more borders, disobeying the Munich Conference and stopping the peace. Harper, an eyewitness of the German invasion,
That's the end of part 1.
has the story.
So many people came marching into the city. I didn't think it was the Germans because of the appeasement policy, but then I saw a Nazi sign. I began to become very scared because I knew this was the start of war. Once somebody disobeys a contract or starts invading without a reason, war starts.
Thank you, Harper. In fact, Hitler did this, Britain and France declared war. The war had officially started and we were ready to put up a fight. Now here is Harper on the recap of this year, 1940.
But we plan to come back up. We have fought some good and made some good decisions. We just have not overpowered Hitler yet. In May 1940, Germany shocked us by going through Belgium to invade France. Belgium was considered invasion-proof, and nobody thought Germany would go through there. British troops that were in France got stuck between the German army and the English Channel. Because Britain sent all the ships they had in this channel to pick up any British troops that needed help. They saved 300,000 troops and raised the British morale. Then France fell.
France fell to Germany and Italy declared war on France. The French surrendered, so in June, Hitler forced the French to sign the surrender documents. There was some good news, though. Some French officers escaped to England and set up a government in exile, led by Charles de Gaulle. These free French worked to liberate their homeland. Then, in August 1940, German bombers began a daily bombardment of England's southern coast. The British Air Forces valiantly battled German air forces, but then Germany changed their tactics. In September 7, 1940, German bombers first appeared over London. The bombing continues now.
Germany decided to start bombing the major cities instead of military bases. This engaged the citizens more and gave them more to fear. This attack is known as the Blitz, and almost every night we go into the bomb shelters to avoid death. This is our report and recap of 1936 to 1940. Thanks for watching. We will see you tomorrow with more news on the war and weather. Keep hoping, people. It'll make a difference someday.